G'day everyone, Prep Aussie here. I hope you're all well in whatever part of the world you're watching this video. Today is Saturday, the 3rd of October 2018, and the time here is 0900 Australian Eastern Standard Time. Well folks, terribly sorry about not doing videos. The reason is, as you can see, I now have no access to my, I can't, it's just unbelievable. My camera, my HD camera, even though it was fine, nothing wrong with it, plugged it in, started recording, bang, gone, disappeared. Can't get it back, can't use it, it's just useless. It's like the computer won't even recognize it now. My microphone, you know, I've got a state-of-the-art microphone, this one, it won't register either. I have had constant computer problems, as in, you know, the line. Ironically, as I said, I had two blokes climb up the poles here a couple of days ago, last week, just before the meeting. And even though I've recently signed up to NBN, I now have speeds that are slower than what we had before. And I can guarantee you that every morning between the hours of 7 to 10, we virtually have no line here at all, no internet service. If we do, it's sporadic. And I've only got a short window, as you've probably realised, where I do these every day before I have to start work here, otherwise it just becomes too cumbersome. So yeah, I'm having loads of fun, folks, trying to get these out. You know, makes you realise how good the video camera was. I am going to try and get a new one and start from scratch again. I don't know how. I've got to take this computer in and get it rebooted down the road, because there's something wrong with it. Some days it works, sometimes it doesn't. You know, we've completely wiped everything off the computer, but it's still not working properly. There's just some glitch in there. This will make you laugh. I had a Norton antivirus thing come up. I showed it to my son and he went, "Holy shit." He said, "You've really got a big time virus on this." This new Norton thing came up and it said, "Get rid of this." So we pressed all the buttons and kept on going, and in the end Norton said, "We can't get rid of this virus because it is a statutory virus," or something like that. Which meant that it was more powerful than what Norton can get rid of. So that's actually sitting on my programs right here as I'm talking now. It's still on the computer. I don't know what it is. There was two of them actually, and it said that this is, you know, we can't get rid of this virus. That's Norton. So I don't know what the hell it is on this computer, but it is there. But having said all that, there's obviously things still going on around the world. As I said, you know, it was good that everyone got to meet each other. The Melbourne meeting at the moment, I haven't responded to everyone because I've had a hell of a time. Sometimes, folks, it takes me half an hour to log into my Proton mail account. It just sits there going brrr, brrr, brrr. As I said, I'm just getting hammered left, right and centre. I'm obviously a danger to somebody, although I haven't really figured out who that is. You know, if you can't speak the truth, then what bloody hope have you got in this bloody world? So, having said that, some interesting developments financially during the week. It would appear, if you're paying attention, that the Federal Reserve is pumping an odious amount of money into the system at the moment to try and keep things propped up. If you're paying attention, look at retail. Okay, forget about everything else. There's a couple of things that came out during the week. Sydney house prices have fallen more than back in the 90s, and they're continuing to fall. There's some people in Sydney at the moment that are absolutely crapping themselves, and I mean crapping themselves. One thing that's linked to that. I'll show you the actual article. This one here. Oh shit. Yeah, this article here, folks, falling house prices now hitting retail sales. Well, you don't have to be Einstein to work out that if house prices are falling, the auction rate in Sydney is now so low that I think it was 40% last week. So they sold 40% of the 100% of houses that went on the market. People are now panicking. And we are now back in the reality of the late 80s, early 90s. Now, to compound that problem, because you're going to hear more about this in the coming weeks, to compound that problem, sorry, I have a coffee. Compounding that problem is the recent Banking Royal Commission. Now, the street that I live in, use this as an example. A house went on the market, it was sold within a week, a couple of months ago. Those houses are now sitting there for months. And the reason is because the banks won't lend you money. Or won't lend money. People are going in to get mortgages and they're going, nah. And this is going to get exasperated really badly in the next couple of weeks. Because we're moving into summer, and summer's a time when most people, October to December, and then January to February, is the time that people usually shift houses. But at the moment you have a clearance rate of just about zip. So if you haven't secured your mortgage before now, then you virtually will not secure a mortgage to shift or to sell your house or to buy a new one. Like I said, the houses in this street, automatically, because this is an area where everyone wants to live, they just aren't selling because people can't get mortgages. Now, if you drive around the local suburbs, you'll see for sale, for sale, for sale, for sale. So imagine if you're in Perth, for example, where they've now been in recession for 2 to 3 years and the house prices have tanked already. So what do you think is going to happen in Perth where people can't get mortgages to get a $400,000 loan or a $300,000 loan? Folks, you are looking, and I'll use Perth as an example here, at a property Armageddon in Perth. And I'm being serious, like it's going to get that bad. And the banks don't care. And you're probably thinking, well, why don't they care? It's because they've got, it's a risk-free environment for them. Okay, you want to, they've got the attitude of, oh, okay, well, you want to put restrictions on us? There you go. You're not having mortgages. You want to do this to us? There you go. You're not going to sell any houses, land, flats, nothing. Can you imagine what the effect of that is going to be overnight? And it's happening already. As I said, retail sales are tanking, absolutely tanking. And it's not going to get any better. And this is going to go on for 10 plus years. That's how bad this is going to get. So those houses, because don't forget, that real estate agent that you really like, is working in collusion with the banks. So what happens when the bank says to the real estate agent, we're not going to give you mortgages anymore. Now, he's built himself up. Haven't you ever wondered why every house in Australia is valued at $450,000? Just about. That seems to be the baseline price, $450,000. That's because the real estate agents have set themselves up at that level, where even a donkey could sell a house for $450,000 or $400,000. So to keep the industry going, and to keep the banks going, and the turnover going, they needed to use that money at that level to get the suckers in the door, so that people wouldn't raise attention to the fact that they've been giving mortgages to people who can't afford them, so they can get their turnover up. The real estate guys are laughing because they get a commission off the banks for selling those type of mortgages. That's why so many were sold. So like I said, folks, there is a property Armageddon coming. Now, I shifted out of Perth 2 years ago nearly, and the guy who came and valued my house before I could sell it told me that anyway. He said, I'm not allowed to tell you that, but he said, but that's what's happening, and that's what's coming. He said it's going to get a lot worse. He spent every single day of his day going around looking at repossessions, and I shifted out of Perth in 2017. He said people were just driving to the airport, flying back to England, flying back to wherever they came from, and just leaving everything here and just going, bye, see ya. Huge 4x2 houses with a car parked in the driveway, the other one at the airport, and all the furniture, etc. in the house, and see you later. Thanks very much. So that was over a year ago. So imagine what's happening now. What about the Australians who can't get out? Think about that. Okay. 2 stories of interest. This one, NAB working with Austrac on money laundering and counter-terrorism funding issues. If you want to read something interesting, read that. Because it's become apparent that Australian banks have just been literally a no-holds-barred money laundering operation, and especially the NAB and ANZ. Or was it ANZ? NAB anyway. These guys are paying massive fines, by the way. Billions and billions. I don't know if you realise that or not. I think Westpac's up to 4, NAB's up to 2 billion, and now they're looking at them for money laundering and terrorism things. This is our banks here in Australia. It's just unbelievable, folks. If you and I did any of this stuff, we'd be in jail. We would literally be in jail, and not one single person as yet has been taken to court. Individual. Not one. And this is interesting here. This is Austral. Now, if you don't know who Austral is, they are the company that build the majority of all of our major seafaring vessels for the Navy and the Customs. Now, the funny thing is, at the moment, they're playing down this hack. And as I said before, there's nothing now in Australia, nothing, absolutely nothing. I don't care what it is, whether you're working cyber security in the government, me doing this, as I said to you, individual businesses, there is nothing that nobody knows who wants to know about your business cannot find on the net. Also, recently, China has become a full-on counter-espionage hacking base. So basically the Chinese are now 110% hacked everything in Australia and know everything about everything in Australia. Financials, the whole lot. How do we know that? Well, recently this will make you laugh, they hacked into and dismantled basically the ASIO website, the ASIO cybersecurity hub, and also the Universities of Australia's hub, both at the same time. And it would appear that they were sitting there for over a year. It's now becoming apparent that Huawei, the Chinese phone company here in Australia, was hacking people's phones willy-nilly without even, that it was so bad that they've now said they put a red flag against them for getting any government contracts or anything here in Australia, if you've been paying attention. So basically everything here in Australia digitally is hacked. Do you understand what I just said? Everything you own on the net is hacked. Facebook. There's no information about you now that is not known in China. Think about that. It's gotten so bad that they will have to start a whole new system, because there's now nothing they can do to stop the Chinese from hacking into the systems. Think about that. So effectively, haven't you thought it's kind of weird that lately we've been having Vodafone outages, Optus outages, Telstra's been hacked 3 times now and shut down. And they're fighting a losing battle to keep this under wraps. But there's not much more they can do before they have to start a new system. And when you hear of Telstra saying, we're going to start this new security system, what they're actually saying is they're putting up the red flag and saying, we can't stop these guys anymore. So they'll have to break away from the old system and start a whole new system. Do you imagine the turmoil? This is happening in America, by the way, as well, not just here. Do you imagine the turmoil, what would happen if they actually crashed the system? Because remember, we've got no cash anymore. There's no cash. And a bank, if you walk into your local bank and ask for anything more than, say, $5,000, you have to get it the next day because they don't hold cash. So can you imagine what would happen if China just went, I tell you what, the Aussies are pissing me off this week. Bang. Click the button. Choo. Everything's gone. And don't forget, they already have every single account, the whole lot, for every single bank in the country. That's a fact. They have all your computer records from the government. They have everything. So imagine if they just went, bang. Australia goes, Think about this, folks. This is how serious this is. So if you haven't got at least $150, $200 sitting around your house, you're going to be cactus, mate. Absolutely cactus. So if I was you guys, I'd start making sure that you've got some readies on hand. Don't you think it's kind of weird? And I mean really weird? When no one uses money anymore, they bring out a new $50 note. Why? It's because it's been counterfeited to shit. The Chinese are pouring, I just read the story to you, money laundering. They're pouring money into this country. Absolutely pouring money into this country, which is, some of it, majority of it might be counterfeit. So be warned. I would personally, I'd keep at least $500, around the house, because if you need money real quick, just think about this, folks. Okay, someone goes bang, the button goes click. There's no petrol, there's no shops, and have you noticed lately that Coles, Woolies, Aldi's hasn't, which is amazing. Coles and Woolies have both had major, and Kmart, major outages at their checkouts at least 3 times lately. Both of them. And people couldn't buy food. They actually had to leave the food in the trolleys, and the staff had to go around putting it back because people couldn't get through the checkouts. So anything that was cold food, they had to throw away. Everything else was all right, obviously, but everything else they had to throw away. They were throwing away thousands and thousands of dollars worth of food. You can read this stuff up. It's not hard to find the information about this, by the way. It's there. You just got to read it. All right, folks. Let's move on. Let's do the prayers. Wow, this is a really good verse of the day. Verse of the day. But you are a chosen people, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, God's special possession, that you may declare the praises of him who called you out of darkness into his wonderful light. Wow, I'm going to read that again. But you are a chosen people, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, God's special possession, that you may declare the praises of him who called you out of darkness into his wonderful light. That's me. And as always, folks, we'll end with the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power and the glory, for ever and ever. Amen. All right, folks. I'll leave it there. As I said, I'll try and get these computer issues sorted out, and hopefully, with a little bit of luck, get up and running again next week. Okay. All right. God bless everyone. Stay safe. Prep out.